So we're going to talk today about what kind of buyer you are. And there are four kinds of buyers. There's a discount buyer, a trade buyer, a difference buyer, and a payment buyer. And you're going to figure out, when we look at this scenario, what type of buyer that you are. And that's really important that you think about this when you go in to start negotiating a car. So let's take an example, and I'll show you how you'll identify what kind of buyer you are. The MSRP stands for the manufacturer's suggested retail price, or the selling price that's on the window sticker. And I'm going to take a $25,000 car right now. And if I were to show you this scenario on a piece of paper, using $300 as your discount, so now my sale price is $24,700. I have an $8,000 trade. The difference between those two figures is $15,700. Tax, tags, we're at $16,800. We add the tax and tags. We subtract money down. We have $12,000. I times it by, I used a money factor of 2.0, which is a normal interest rate, for 48 months, and I have a payment of $240 a month. And you were to come in and I would say, Leslie, what do you think of this scenario? Now, Leslie's going to say a couple things. If she's a discount buyer, she's going to say, oh my goodness, you only gave me $300 off on the car? Are you crazy? That's a discount buyer. Her focus went to this line right here. My trade, she would say, is magnificent. I clean it all the time, and I want $9,000 or $10,000 for my car. And Kelly Blue Book says, if she says that to me, and that's the first thing out of her mouth, she is such a trade buyer. She might say to me, well, you know what, Hillary, I have $12,000 in my car, and that's what I want to spend for a car. That makes her a difference buyer. Now, the difference buyer always wants, and it's always a couple $1,000s, because they always see their car at retail, and in their mind, they looked online at what the car costs, and they think, and I don't want to put any money down, and I don't want a payment, and she's got $12,000 saved up, and she is a difference buyer. Or somebody says, I want to be at $200 a month. That's my budget. That would make that person 100% a payment buyer. And I have newsflash for all you guys. One is you can be a combination of all. 90%, 85, 90%, 91% of the world are payment buyers. Now, when you're negotiating and when you're figuring out what kind of buyer you are, you need to know where your button is so that you don't get confused. Because the dealer is going to try to bring you down to payment, because it's the cheapest and easiest thing. For $5 or $10, more or less, he's getting you off of the price of the car and the discount, and he's bringing you down to something that's manageable. Somebody might say, gee, I don't have $4,800 in cash, but I also still want to be at $200 a month. Now that would say to me, I'm on the wrong car, because there's a couple $1,000s left in this car. If I push this trade, maybe I'm at $500 or more, and I still can't be at $200 a month. So I'm either on the wrong car, and I have to tell that person, or I'll say to them, well, maybe I can get not $4,800, but let me try to do it with $2,000, and I'll come back at $2,000 down, and I'll push the trade, and I'll discount the car, and we'll work these numbers out on the payment. But to know what kind of buyer you are, for me, why would I want to know that? Well, as the dealer, I would want to know that, because if I'm going to discount the car, it's not going to be as meaningful. Let's assume I would give you another $700 or $1,000 more off on the car. I'm not going to show it to you there. I'm going to say, well, I'm going to give you $9,000 for your car, and you're going to feel better. Now, P.S., really, it's kind of crazy, but that's what you need to hear. Because to you, this is more than just a car. This is the shrine. This is the most important thing. To some people, all they care about is the discount, and to some people, they'll say, right here, this all goes away. I don't care how you do it. Push my trade, discount this, but I want to be at $13,000 out the door, including tax and tax. And I'm like, terrific, let's go pick out a different car. Because I may not have the room to be able to do that. But that would make that person a difference buyer. They don't care so much about this as much as they care about what's my out money. Now, why would they care about that? Because maybe they went to the bank, which I would want them to do, and they said, what, Mr. Banker, is my payment for 48 months on $13,000? And they got a payment that they were comfortable with. And they're not saying that to me, but what they're saying is, this is how much I want to finance. Or my dad's going to give me X amount of dollars because I graduated from college and I have saved $2,000 and this is what I want to do. So you have to dig a little deeper with the customer as well. But that's how what we call identifying what kind of buyer and why it's important. And once you know this, when the dealership and you were sitting down together, you'll get more comfortable because you'll understand the process.